Welcome, everyone, to another fabulous week with Dr. Parviz on Information Beyond. This week's topic is going to be about it's not what we see, but how we perceive what we see. Can we elaborate on this, Dr. Parviz?
Sure, absolutely. I'll make it simpler. It's not about what you look at, it's how you look at. Let's talk about this. The fact is that everything in our creation is based on energy. Even the matter is energy. When we look at the simplest atom, which is an hydrogen atom, they say if you stand under the biggest Vatican dome, which is about 42 meters diameter, and you have a needle pin in your hand, if you consider the end of that needle pin as the nucleus of the hydrogen atom, the single electron could occupy a space until the borders of that dome. So that means in actual atom, and this is 100% science, something about 99.999999993% space, only 0.000000003.6 or something is just a matter. But we see it as solid matter because of the fields of energy. So it's easy to understand now. Everything is energy. And Nikola Tesla talks about that with his famous quote. Now, energy, on the other hand, is information. Yeah? And information is what shapes the matter. Matter cannot take shape by itself. So the consciousness is needed to create a shape as if an order comes in. I'll elaborate on this in a second. The iron in our body is kind of red color, and anything with muscles, blood, liver, this is a part of the iron in us. When we feel something, everything in our body feels that. So when I laugh, everything in me starts to increase the energy system. Yeah. Now imagine somebody takes some of the iron from my body and takes it out of my energy control. After some time, it turns into black powder, like the iron that you see outside.
Correct.
Now imagine you make a joke, I laugh, but that little iron outside of my body, which has turned into material iron, cannot respond anymore.
It's unaffected.
Yeah? So it's as if it is completely out of my energy system control. Now imagine I put that iron powder on a piece of paper, and now I bring a magnet and I place it underneath. What do you see up here? Everything starts to align according to the line of information by the field. And now you turn on the music, I start dancing with this little iron underneath. You see here, everything starts to respond accordingly. So this proves that energy, information controls not just shaping the matter, but the behavior and action of the matter. That's how we are born into this life, and slowly we grow up, and we not only shape our personality, but also shape our quality of life and future. We'll talk about this a little bit later. Now, when information comes in, we need an antenna to receive it. Now we have proven that our body is nothing but an antenna. Before, the cells were receiving signals as biochemical ligands, like hormones, enzymes coming like a key and a lock, attaching to a specific antenna sticking out of the surface of the cell, inserting the information, okay, I want you to make this protein now, and then cell puts it into order, and there you go, we have the products. Scientists have discovered recently that hundreds of times more than antennas responded to the biochemical ligands, we have antennas which respond to biophysical signals. Our cells talk to each other through microwave frequency. That's why using microwave oven could disturb our body balance. So we receive information through the antenna. Our brain is an antenna too. Now they use a technology called magnetoencephalogram. Unlike electroencephalogram that they had to place the probe on the surface of the head, on the scalp of a person to record the brain waves, now the machine stands something about at least a foot or maybe even more away from your head. It picks up the broadcasting signal by the brain. Now, what does this mean? Imagine I go through an experience in my life that makes me feel really, really good, or the opposite way. That mindset is received by the antenna of the brain, understood by the brain, and then brain produces every biochemical, neurotransmitters, hormones, whatever that is needed to implement this idea to the entire body. Immediately, when you get angry, you lose your appetite, your blood pressure starts to rise, you become defensive, you can't sit relaxed. When you are happy, this is how your appetite opens up, your digestive system is, you see, these ideas are implemented throughout the body. Now, do you have any questions so far?
I can ask something, but this
Sure.
will be for another podcast. Is these antennas just keep reminding me that so much information is coming to us. I'd like to do a podcast on how we can desensitize ourselves.
That sounds good.
It's not
Sure.
relevant to today, but definitely.
Yes, sure. At every second, we humans receive, analyze, and react to 40 billion lines of information. For example, right now while we are sitting like this, our brain and the subconscious controlling system knows which blood vessels out of 800 million has to be constricted, which one has to be dilated, so you have the right circulation, which hormone, how much thyroid hormone you need right now. Let's say this much. The moment you want to stand up, suddenly it goes to that much, and billions of things have to change in order to accommodate it. Yes, true. So that proves that the antenna is the truth. Now, if you look at the human body, our eyes can see only the physical part because our eyes sees only the reflection of the visible light. We don't see anything above or below, as we spoke before. Now, there is a technology invented a long time ago by a Russian scientist called Kirlian photography. They could easily make the energy, the first layer of energy field around us visible by exposing the body into some sort of magnetic field, and then it appears. You see it as aura. That is a part of us too. This first layer of energy around our body, we call it vital force, or let's say morphogenetic field. This field of energy is where homeopathy works, is where the Chinese medicine, the Chinese acupuncture meridians are traveling. At the same time, it holds the blueprint of all our organs there. One day, when we understand what signal to give, the body is capable of making a new kidney, a new heart valve, whatever that it is. It is already there, but we just don't know that. We see this field of energy through Kirlian photography, but there is more. There's another field of energy around that, and the farther away we go, because it becomes stronger, the more effect they insert on the physical body in the center. This next layer is called the mind, where we hold our thoughts, our beliefs. You've heard about placebo effect. We just talked about it. They give a sugar pill, which there is absolutely no medicine in it. But when the person takes it and she or he believes this is going to get rid of my problem, suddenly a healing takes place. Now, in conventional medicine, because the science cannot explain that, they call it dummy treatment, because they don't understand. The conventional science of medicine and biology is based on material part only, because they cannot see further, they cannot prove it, they reject it scientifically, okay? But it's not true. Now, if you remember, in our previous podcast, we talked about how through electroencephalography, we can measure the vibrations or the waves created by the brain of, let's say, a fetus, a newborn, a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 12-year-old, or an adult. You remember?
Yeah.
We had the delta frequency vibration, which is sleeping time. We had theta, a bit higher. That was imagination. That was dreaming. It happens in a child from age 2, let's say, to around age 7. And then it goes a little bit higher up. It becomes alpha, which is the state of consciousness. And then theta, which is the fastest vibration right now. We have an adult when we do full work, yeah? So this also shows that everything is about sending signals and energy. Now, how is it relevant to our original idea that it's not about what you look at, it's about how you look at it, yeah? Imagine,
our perception.
Exactly. This is called the perception, which is the most influential field of energy or information in our physical body. And it starts from early childhood. When a growing child feels unsafe, is it going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Now, this feeling of lack of safety and security affects the body, and it will not allow for the roots to develop. So this child will grow into somebody who doesn't have self-confidence that much, always afraid of taking risks,
It
jumping.
develops their character.
Exactly, bravo. It could be the opposite way as
Mhm.
well. That's why the conscious parenting was so important. Today is not about having more children. It's about creating the right personality for our child with the highest ability to achieve as much as possible in the future. So this is how we perceive life, through the state of mind. I look at something, I take in an information based on what I am, who I am, my experience, and everything else. Like, you go to a party, they open the door before saying anything, they smile, or they open the door with a frown on their face. This will change everything in you, even though the frown on their face had nothing to do with you. It was just due to the fact that the lady who was hosting the party, just before opening the door with a lot of enthusiasm for another beautiful guest to come in, suddenly realized the maid that she had hired to serve did something really, really wrong. She got really furious, but there was no time to go and catch her. She had to open the door. That frown had nothing to do with you. But when you look at her face at the moment of greeting with that frown, you take in information as, I'm not wanted. I'm not supposed to be here. This will be implemented into your body through the work of the brain, and then the biochemistry that happens to support these thoughts will send this message everywhere to your body, not just the brain. Our heart also has about 60,000, I believe, nerve cells, which has nothing to do with the central nervous system.
And we've all been there, and that changes the whole feeling and frequency between you and the host the whole night, possibly. So we know exactly from this, Dr. Parviz, that if we can perceive beyond the box, look outside of the box, life can be beautiful. And I know that's where you're getting at.
That requires a lot of
self-work.
And it means conscious awareness, rising our consciousness.
Absolutely, conscious
to understand,
awareness.
Okay, I'm not going to judge. Let me see what it is. Let me open.
Bravo, no judgment.
When I started incorporating quantum science into medicine in the beginning, it wasn't easy. How is it possible for somebody scientifically to check someone else who's not there? You can go to Mars, you know that.
Yeah.
With quantum system, your quantum energy is all over the universe. We can check to see if you're happy there or not. This is incredible. And this is 100% science, quantum entanglement. They discovered these things back in the 1920s. When quantum physics was born due to the new information they received through their experimentations. So this is it.
So
Our
would you be able to give
perception.
us some pointers in how to perceive things better than we just see on face value?
Okay, this is a difficult question to answer. It depends on the ability of the person, how they allow the new information to be processed within them. Imagine we talk about something and people start to resist. Yesterday, I had a client, and usually I'm a teacher. I teach to them what I see, what their responsibility about the improvement of health is, and so on and so forth. And when I see sometimes that there is a lot of resistance from people who've never practiced medicine, never studied science, never had anything to do with anything like this, and come and sit suddenly in like 10 minutes talk, they want to know everything. You see, how is that possible? Unless this person take a step back saying that, okay, I am here in front of somebody who has at least decades of experience. Let me listen, even though it doesn't make sense to my knowledge at this moment.
True.
Of course, there may be a lot of things that we've never heard. Let me hear it and then analyze it without any judgment to see how does it make sense to me. And there's incredible number of natural evidence to prove that. The book of Masaru Emoto, The Hidden Message in Water. How is it possible for the water crystal to change depending on the word he wrote on a paper and stuck it to the bottle of water? You see?
Yeah. No, absolutely no. I mean, we know we're day and night in terms of the types of personalities out there. But I really want to reach out to those people, like you say, that are more resistful or more stubborn, if I can say that word, because with these podcasts, my true reasoning behind it is I want it to reach to the mass audience and help people. I want it to become realistic, not just to give information to you guys. So this is why, and Dr. Parviz is filled with beautiful information, but I want to make it real. And it's true. So we want starting points maybe of how we can start to achieve that and become less resistful.
Absolutely. That, as I said, has a lot to do with the person who is the recipient of this information. If they think they know enough, then that's good
It's
enough
quite
for
hard.
them. But there's no end in the
Right.
knowledge, in the consciousness, in the creation. There is no end. There's no
And-
end in understanding even one single atom.
And the more we think we know, we don't know anything.
We have been in medical schools. Yeah, if you remember, we have cell biology book, like about 1,000 pages of book talking about one single cell at
Yeah.
a time. By the way, you or I have about 70 trillions of them, 10,000 times more than the inhabitants of planet Earth in one bag. Becomes you, becomes me. Now, these cells, unless they are in constant communication, they can never keep the entire balance of the system. So health could never exist. So there is a lot of information being exchanged at every level, not only between the cells in our body, but also with our body, with its internal and outside environment too. So think about the antenna, think about the effect of the information, think about the memory behind this information, like what I said.
Right.
You looked at the person with the phone, you felt, oh, this is to you, so your system shut down. It had nothing to do with you. So the perception, yes.
No, really, that's the best takeaway message. Try it today, everybody. Just today. If you listen to this podcast to the end and just see, is it really your perception or that you've created and it's based on your memories and your characteristic? Or can you break that vicious cycle and go beyond? Thank you so much, Dr. Parviz.
It's a pleasure.
Until next time, everyone.
Have a good time.
Thank you.